the roles of a leader. If you want to be a good leader, you have to move and you have to be very, very careful. Including when you are talking, you have to be very careful. Today is not my day of talking. So thank all of you for accepting the invitation and come for this conference. And I also want to thank the organizers of this function. It is a great thing. I have been very busy, but when I have given a short notice to come for this conference, I left everything that I was doing to come and attend this function, to join you. I also want to thank all the guest speakers who have spoken. You have done a very wonderful job, and you have also shown a seed. Your seed, I believe, is going to come out of generation in front of us. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I am not going to say much because it's not my day. I'm only invited here to say hi to you, and I have said it. With me, I have my programs manager. He's also a young man, small body, but the mind is too wide and too big. He does wonderful things, and he makes my work in my office very easy as his executive director. I am also not proud of being executive director, but what is that important thing that I do to the community? And that is only what I am doing. I am only proud for what I do to the community. And if the community will give a feedback that I am doing a tremendous job, then I say, God, thank you. With those few words, may God bless you. Thank you so much.
2 minutes. Actually, 1. In Tadova, we make the youth shine. Are we shining? Just do your hands up if you're shining. Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Isaac Esaru. I'm the programs manager at Tadova Youth Foundation. I am so happy to be here. I just want to spend 1 minute to say something on leadership, but I want to thank the executive director of EDA, the guest speaker, especially with great cognizance too, my comrade Edmond Elasu. We did a lot of leadership in the university at Makerere. Now, if they ever ask you to find the value of leadership, the answer is ultimately one, and that is influence. Leadership is largely about influence. The biggest corruption to the socioeconomic status of our systems today across the globe is that leadership, or rather the influence, has been built around resources and power, which is a very wrong rendering of leadership. Leadership, or rather influence, is built around a vision. You understand? If you are a leader and you cannot create a vision that people can follow, then you cease to be a leader. Now, let me tell you something. Very many of you were elected into position. That is not leadership. If you cannot create a vision and influence people, then you have not yet served as a leader. Have you seen what my brother did? All of us are here today because he had a vision. Now, this is leadership. Nobody gave him power, but we are here today on his vision. You get the point? If we are going to transform societies, we need young people that build visions that attract. The Bible says that Gentiles shall come to thine light, right? And kings will come to what? To the brightness of your rising. Now, people cannot come to your light if the light is not there. A vision there means light. And light could mean knowledge or an idea. For the ardent readers of the Bible, of course, now we know that light is Christ, but we are not here to do that today. But light is knowledge. As a leader, you have to read widely. Think beyond the ordinary. You get the point. My comrade in service, Benson Ekwe, said something, that if Soroti could wake up and build lockup, that's a very great idea. That's leadership. You get the point. Leadership is not in the elected position. A lot of people are misusing that. You're a leader here, you're elected, others are appointed to make it even worse. Then you start using your power to ride on people the wrong way, influence things that don't benefit society. Are you getting the point? If you want to create change in your school, in your community, create the vision. This has nothing to do with your power. I'm a leader. I work with an organization that is imparting hundreds of lives of young people. We have had a lot of youth leadership training, and they have impacted a lot of people. So I am proud, and I can call myself a leader because I have proof. The question is, do you have proof? That is your food for thought. Thank you for coming. Send our regards to your people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Programs Manager and ED. Did you hear him? Wow, thank you. I don't have what to add. I don't have what to remove. We've learned from him his confidence, and he's just on point. Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure having you, and we look forward to walking this distance, this journey with you. We are moving next. We are behind schedule. A few schools joined us after we had started. One of them is Jeresa High School. Stand up and wave to us and be quick. You're most welcome. Ngora SS. Saint One Iron Lady. Where are you? Wow, that is the Iron Woman from Ngora SS. You're most welcome. Alliance, you're most welcome. St. Gabriel's Vocational, you're most welcome. Thank you. Halshon Serere campuses joined us a little later. Serere campuses led by the big boy Sylvester. You're most welcome, sir, and the students. We therefore, one more person, Miss Tourism Teso, personality and talent. She's one of our own. Kanambo Dorin. Please welcome to the audience. She's a singer and she's, I think, an artist as well. Miss Tourism, Teso, personality and talent. That is the big lady. Thank you. Sample. Objection. Okay, I object your sample. When time allows, please, it will be my pleasure to invite her. When you're telling me, I do the opposite. I've been a student leader and I have a very hard head. That is my problem. Okay, let's move forward. My apologies. Doreen, she'll perform for us later. She's also the vice chairperson, Establisher Development Africa. So she is with us. No worries. It is therefore my pleasure to invite our next keynote speaker. That is none other than Mr. Andrew Ewinya, who will be taking us through personal integrity. So Mr. Andrew Ewinya from HLD, High School Leadership Development. You are most welcome. It's our pleasure sharing this day with you. Thank you so much. You're welcome, sir. I call him Aquaro. Aquaro means grandpa at his age because he's a big inspiration and has a big heart and passion for the young people. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Bwana MC. Hallelujah. Amen. Praise God, somebody. I am not very spiritual, but the spirit and the mood at which we are here today is very genuine. My name is Andrew Ewinya. I work as the HLD coordinator for Teso sub-region. HLD means the High School Leadership Development Initiative. An initiative that is entrusted with the vision of raising the next generation of African leaders, and Ugandan leaders and Teso leaders. But before I proceed, permit me ask my small team to rise up. They're a team that I move with. Maybe Scovia Ray, Laz, and the rest of us kindly stand up and just wave to the team. They have been student leaders before. We are walking the journey, and we have the mandate to change the next history of this country, the next history of Teso, and the next history of our communities. So I am here today to talk about personal integrity. I have a presentation, but I do not think I will be able to follow it. I wish that maybe I would have spoken a little bit earlier. We are living in times when doing the right thing is fatally very expensive. I do not know what personal integrity means to you. I do not know
what it means to you to be a leader. But with this generation, we know what is happening in our country. If our elders have wasted the past 50 years of this generation, let's not another generation waste another 50 years. You are that personality to change the trend of this country. You are the personality that Teso needs to change things. You've come all the way from Serere, Ngora, Wera to this function. We hope that you do not go back the same. Integrity is a very, very expensive aspect, and you cannot find it anywhere. By definition, and I hope that by the end of the day you should be able to understand what integrity is and have your personal internalized perspective on what it is to be a person of integrity. But as one of those that has been entrusted with this vision, I have been into mentorship for the past 7 years. I have walked the journey and I have seen young people become men, and I have seen young men become great inspirational personalities like Emma. I have a very long story with Emma, and we met in an engagement like this, and from then it's been a long story. So as integrity, by definition, if you looked at the dictionary, to say that integrity is defined as a firm adherence to a moral code. Stephen Covey, the author of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, says integrity is when your actions are in line with your values. If your actions are in line with your values. The last time I checked, our young leaders actually do not know what values they hold. The younger generation is being carried away on very small agendas, and we forget that if we are to be the change that we wish to see, we should be able to do things that match our values, and our values should be able to match our actions. So integrity for me is not everybody's habit. For me, it is something that we cultivate over time. Our mentors have told us over time that integrity is like a tree. It takes very many years to grow, but it takes just 1 hour for you to lose it. And there is no half integrity, there is no 70% integrity. It is either you have integrity or you don't have it. And our generation is struggling with 3 things: integrity with sex, integrity with power, and integrity with money. I do not know how many of us in this assembly would say no to a bribe. We have leaders in our communities. We have leaders in this country. We have leaders in this region that, instead of being leaders of integrity, that try to match standards, we are living a life of fulfilling our interests. Because my father is a thief, I must become a thief. Who then will change the paradigm? As a student leader, when you talk about integrity, it is doing the right thing when no one is seeing. What is it that you're doing? You are alone with the head girl, for example, in the Chubiko. What is it that you two are doing in there? Leadership is influence. What is it that you're radiating to the students that you lead? Our generation is struggling because we are easily taken away from the things that matter. How is it that as the HP, as the chairperson ONSA, how is it that we have our younger brothers dropping out of school? We have our younger sisters dropping out of schools because of lack of school fees, for example. What is it that you're trying to do? The team leader of Soroti said we have around 4,000 students here. I know that there are majority of our students here that are failing to come to school because they do not have school fees. I know that there are majority of us, our sisters out there that are dropping out of school because they do not have sanitary pads. But we are the next generation. For how long shall we be in the song of the next generation? What is it that we are doing now to change the things around us? It might be in your community. I know that majority of us have our own villages. You may be the most educated in your community, but what is it that you have to offer? What is it that your community is taking away from you? Are we the ones choosing to do the wrong things because we are educated? Must it be the habit that if I am enlightened, I should be the one to take the budget to myself? Why is it that our hospitals, our schools, our mothers are wailing and kicking agony in the hospitals like we do not have budgets passed in this country? We have people responsible for those budgets. Why are mothers dying in the maternity wards? Why are young children dying at a younger age? It is because those that have been entrusted with the resources, those that have been entrusted with the vision, and those that have been entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring the well-being of humanity have decided to sit back to enjoy the proceeds of what comes with the positions they hold. You are a student leader. How is it your joy that when it is your colleagues that have misbehaved at school, you cover them up? But if it is Andrew and his team, because we do not have good relationships, you continue to hurt us. The younger generation needs to wake up. We cannot continue singing about being the leaders of tomorrow. What is it that we are doing now? We must plant the right seed. And if we cannot plant the right seed, the next 50 years possibly would be another waste. And it will be very disappointing to know that 50 years later, Teso is still grumbling with very minor issues of tribal differences, political differences, and yet our people are struggling with much better and bigger things. Societies are struggling because we who know that which is good and right have chosen just to watch and look. The younger generation is more intoxicated about their reputation than their character. What people see is what you think is right. But character is what you are in the eyes of God. What is that character that we do not see that you have? We are living in very sad times. Honorable Minister was talking about how the younger generation might surpass them. We think that maybe you would offer us, the audience, maybe you would offer us the shade to sit. But looks like the temper in the house is very horrible. The rate at which the young people celebrate wrong things. The rate at which the young people cover up wrong things. Sometimes you see wrong things, but we keep quiet. Martin Luther King says that the world is suffering not because of the actions of the bad people, but it is because of the silence of the good people, and the good people are you and me. Integrity is the first step to true greatness, the foundation that holds society together, and the moral value is what we need in leadership today. 3 things. If you want greatness, if you want to hold society together, and if we need to have better leaders, we need to cultivate an environment where integrity is a normal virtue, where doing that which is good and right does not excite anyone. It should be a normal practice. If I am the chairperson UNSA and I am entrusted with the resources, what is it that I am doing? Would my having the money worry the entire team behind me? As HLE, we've tried to cultivate an environment where young people are given the podiums, are given the mandates to live and be a better example. We want to have a better world, but we cannot have a better world when we are talking about corruption. You cannot be a corrupt HP and then you think that your leadership tenure will be celebrated. In the 21st century, how is it that we still exercise strikes in your generation? How is that even possible? With this generation where we are able to approach people and have discussions on the round table, how is it that we as leaders entrusted with the vision, resources, and people choose to do the wrong things? Why would we not sit on the round table? So if you want true greatness, if you need a foundation that holds society together, we have to take personal integrity very seriously. It is doing the right thing even when no one is seeing. We talk about corruption. I will use my example, not to lift myself, but to tell you that corruption is very cancerous. It is not just at the higher level, even at the communities. I work as a land rights activist, and most of the times I face off with investors, I face off with communities and mothers that are struggling with the issues of land rights. And sometimes we end up into offices where envelopes are the ones that speak. I am a married man. I do not have a car yet. I come from a very small village behind Haushon High School. But sometimes you enter these offices and they're giving you a lot of monies to silence very many things. But of what importance would that be if I took that money and then that old woman continues to cry wherever she is, even when she has come to me for help, knowing that I could be the only person able to help her. And then because of the love of money, I choose to sit on the dinner table with the rich and forget what I was raised to do. I do not know how many of us would say no to money. At the rate the young people love money. It might not be money. You are at school, you do not have a pen. You see your friend's pen and he is not very close to you. What is it that you're doing? You either pick it and keep it in your pocket and walk away. It might not be a pen, it might be the dormitory. I have left my box open, but because you're alone in the dormitory, you pick my sugar and do with it what you want. You are the HP, you're the chairperson UNSA, you're the Chief Justice. If we want to keep integrity, at the highest level. We need to learn to cultivate that. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a process that we cultivate. We need leaders that people can rely on, people have faith in, and people that we know we can trust. I do not know if your students trust you. I do not know if they rely on you. And if they do not rely on you or trust you, you should begin to ask yourself very fundamental questions. Sex, money, and power. These are all very good things. At my age, I remember, I think the very first time I had sex was, I think, when I was the first year at university. But I will assure you that in this hall right now, we have parents and young people are doing the wrong things and they celebrate it. Having sex, it's by choice. It is when I feel like I just walk and get it wherever I go. Power. These are not bad things. But how are we using our power? Some of us have chosen to use the power to cultivate or to cage our walls so that you be untouchable. These days I am told that their bosses, when a young lady is looking for a job, because I am the managing director, because I am the executive director, I must first take you to the carpet and then I hand you the job. And because I am desperate, because I need a job as a young girl, I will go and do that. What happened to having values? What happened to doing the right thing? Yes, I know we are desperate, we need jobs, but must I take you down first to take the job? You have the right, you have the choice, and the decision lies entirely with you. The truth is that the pursuit of power without integrity often leaves families, communities, and nations broken. Just look at the world around you. It is because of integrity that this country is the way it is. Madam Minister was talking about how at the highest level everything seems okay. The TAC executive director talked about how it is normal to do the wrong things in this country, and you will be celebrated. You are the next in line. And if you were very keen, majority of the previous speakers were telling us that they started their leadership journey at high school. And I have the highest hope that someday, when I close my eyes and open them, and then I meet, for example, the HP of Halshan High School, the HP of Teso College, at the legislation house, we should be able to talk about things that matter, things that build the country. It would be very horrible that today we are in this hall and then we are reading you on the newspapers that you've taken billions and billions of monies. Mr. Kwe talked about buying a car of 2-point-something billion. Is that urgent with what the country is going through? As it is, we have a majority of misleaders. As a country, we have a majority of people that do not know what their positions need to do. And for how long shall we continue to have our misleaders who think that they are leaders? Tomorrow they will come, they will humor you with the 5,000. Go to the public health facility in Soroti here and see what our mothers are going through, our fathers are going through. We are wailing and kicking in the cycle of poverty. But we have leaders who should be able to streamline the proceedings in the country. It is them. That is their generation. What is it that we have for this generation? If at your level, your village road is very bushy, you have pupils going to primary schools around the village, you are the head prefect of Teso College, for example. You go back to your village and you come back the same. What difference do I think that you will make if you cannot change the small things that matter? Even not alone the community road, maybe the pathway to going to your home. What is it that you're doing to change first your community? We have the hope that Teso would be better with you. We have the hope that Uganda would be a better place for us who would retire and watch the young generation take up responsibility. But how sure are we that they will continue doing the right thing? If right now just doing that which is good and right is very difficult. Do you keep promises that you make to yourself? Are you a promise keeper? That is where everything starts. We have majority of us who speak one thing and then speak the other the next time. Do your morals guide what you do as a leader? Do you have morals anyway? Or because they elected you, you will do what you're supposed to do and live unrecognized? I have lived in this part of the region for a very long time. And I have also worked with very many student leaders across Teso. Like I told you, HLD has been here for the last 8 years. And I have met some of these guys many years later. There is a particular young man that still remains in the halls of fame in Teso College, a laureate. His name is Isaac Echard Newton. That fateful year, the students, the administration was not at school, and he was the HP then. Some of the students that, because the school denied them to watch football, decided to go ahead and ban the school generator. That had taken very many years to come into order. So with his leadership, with his team, before the school came, he had taken the mandate to bring those guys to book. All the head teacher did was to come and call police and say, please march and go. But how many of you are going to do that? He cleaned Teso College, and I don't think that should be able to happen anytime soon. How many of us here will do that? And how many are willing to do that? If you're not going to protect your friends, because the consequences of such actions trickle down to even the most innocent students whose parents are struggling even to raise tuition. And yet, as a leader mandated to protect, you keep watching and watching. I will conclude with the story of the Tanzanian marathon runner, John Stephen Akwari, in the Olympics. That's around 1968. I hope the slide is on. The 1968 marathon race, the Mexico City 1996 marathon race of 42 kilometers, this featured about 75 runners. But 18 of them never finished the race, mostly due to the effects of running at a high altitude. Akwari, a marathon champion representing Tanzania, was in the class of the world's elite, but he started experiencing difficulties in the race. He suffered muscle cramps and stayed at the back of At the halfway mark of 21 kilometers, a group of runners struggling for positions collided with one another. The incident was serious, and some of the runners stumbled heavily onto the paved tarmac. Akwari was one of those who fell to the pavement, and his right knee was torn open. Blood began pouring from the gaping wound. Picking himself up, he also realized that his shoulder was all bruised by the hard surface, and now an intense pain was assailing him from head to toe. And we see Akwari was down their line. Looking at his desperate condition, medical personnel attending to the fallen runners advised him to pull out of the race. But Akwari refused and told them to just wrap the bandages on his leg so that he could stay in the race. Mama Waldo of Ethiopia, who was fine with the high altitude of Mexico City, won the race after 2 hours and 20 minutes and crossed the finish line as the race entered Estadio Olímpico Stadium, to the thunderous applause of the massive crowd. The other remaining runners slowly finished, and after the award ceremony, the crowd started to leave. But the announcers or the commentators told them there was still one runner remaining struggling to finish. The other remaining runners slowly finished, and after the ceremony, the crowd started to leave. But the announcers told them there was still one runner remaining struggling to finish. Many spectators returned to the stands, and a television crew raced back along the marathon course to find the remaining runner. And there was Akwari, running in darkness, limping heavily on his injured knee, barely able to walk, but every now and then still attempting to run. Some people began crying at his every limp, as it was they who were feeling the excruciating pain in his bones and exhaustion in his lungs. At last, when he entered the stadium, the crowd broke into the loudest cheer ever, in recognition of his superhuman effort. His time was 3 hours, 25 minutes, about an hour, and after the winner, Walde of Ethiopia had crossed. But the 1996 race, in the judgment of history, is always remembered as the Akwari's marathon, not Walde's, because of what he had done. And when the journalists asked him, the one question on everybody's mind, why did he endure such punishing circumstances when quitting the race would have been perfectly understandable. He uttered the line that is considered as one of the most memorable and inspiring in the Olympic history. He said, "My country did not send me 5,000 miles to start the race. They sent me 5,000 miles to finish the race." That is the story of Akwari. We didn't raise you this far to give up on issues that are affecting humanity in Teso. We raised you this far so that our mothers, our fathers would be in a better place. Like personal integrity, there could be a lot that come your way. A lot of frustration. Sometimes you're not celebrated. Akwari had the option to run or sit back because I am injured. My country would understand. But he knew that he came 5,000 miles for a particular reason. He might have not been the first, but staying on the lane 3 hours later just to achieve that was satisfying. Sometimes many of us are not willing to hold on. Sometimes we are taken up. We all must run with endurance God has set before us. He who endures to the end will receive the crown. As leaders, you're entrusted with the resources, the vision. We seem to focus more on the resources, and which I think that we should not, that should change. We need a better Teso. We need a better communities. But we cannot do that if we think that money is everything. So as I conclude, search your souls and let's begin to do things right. The injustices you're causing those people around your communities. Yes, today you're the HP, tomorrow I might be the HP. What example are you setting? As you live your life, love humanity. And as you love humanity, try to leave a better legacy behind for God and my country.
A better one than that one? Ladies and gentlemen, that was so inspiring. We didn't come this far to give up now. Student leaders, students, you've not struggled from P1 to give up at Senior 4. You've not come all this way to give up. You can struggle from nursery. Then all you can return back home is what God gave you? No. Ladies, you've not struggled this far so that a man can play around with you. You need a degree home. Endure. Before we can think of doing anything contrary, we have to put on the shoes of our parents. If you want to give up after she has paid all the tuition, think about it. What if I was my own mother? What if I was my own mother? Would I return home? Would I see my daughter returning and I celebrate? Would you? Before you do anything, put on the same shoes. I've known of a relative who left everything, all the luggages at campus, and came back home. Went for marriage. 3 years later, things are hard. Got 2 kids. And I am telling you now, this lady can beat the kids to go to school. You will not stay at home. I don't know what she has realized, but she abandoned the luggage at campus and came back to get married. You've not come all this far to give up. Looked at the Honorable Minister, the big inspiration. You've not come all this far to give up. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrew Ewenya. You've inspired us a lot. And you've set down our evening. The last thing, do not strike. What kind of weakness takes you to beat a building, to beat down glasses? You are so weak. You don't think. These head teachers are human beings. Reason with them. Don't go for a generator. Don't go for trees. Don't go for blocks. You're so weak. We are not raising a generation that will fight all blocks. We are raising a generation that will reason with administrators and come out with a solution. That is what we are raising. We shall be embarrassed to hear that an prefect has led a strike. No. That the student leader has given up on school until senior 6? No. We have not come all this far to do what?